Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today, an enterprise accidentally burns $500 million on AI in a single month. Anthropic's new models unleash parallel agents with the power to spend your money, and a startup's valuation triples in just 3 weeks. Let's get into the data.
I mean, it is genuinely a wild time to be looking at the tape right now.
Right. Welcome to today's deep dive. We are so thrilled to have you riding along with us.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Because if you are trying to make sense of this absolute collision course between market capital, culture, and just this high-octane tech acceleration, well, you're in the right place.
For sure.
We've got a massive wire today. And I got to say, the stakes have literally never been higher.
No, they really haven't. We are watching the underlying technology accelerate at a pace that is, frankly, hard to even chart anymore.
It's impossible to chart.
Right. But at the exact same time, the guardrails and, more importantly, the corporate budgets are completely breaking down.
Breaking down fast.
Yeah, we're seeing a real-time stress test, you know? Like,
Yeah.
what happens when infinite digital scale meets very finite human oversight?
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because we have to start with the highest stakes macro story on the wire today, which is just the sheer influx of capital and the unprecedented burn rates happening in the AI sector right now.
It's staggering.
It is. There is this viral report circulating at Polymarket that is honestly just jaw-dropping.
Oh, I saw this.
Yeah, so an AI consultant revealed that an enterprise client accidentally spent $500 million in a single month on Claude.
Wait, $500 million?
$500 million, yes.
Just, oops, there goes $500 million.
Exactly. Now, you hear a number like that and you think, like, how is that even physical possible?
Right, like, what are they even doing?
Well, mechanically, it happened because they failed to set hard API usage limits on their autonomous workflows.
Oh, no.
Yeah. They had these agents that hit a coding bug, and instead of just failing and stopping, the system autonomously spawned dozens of sub-agents to find a workaround.
Let me guess. Those sub-agents hit limits, too.
Yep. They hit rate limits, so they spawned hundreds more, and they just created this infinite recursive loop over a single weekend.
Which is an absolute nightmare scenario for a CFO. I mean, you can actually see the downstream consequence of this exact kind of corporate negligence playing out right now.
What do you mean?
Well, Polymarket is currently giving 22% odds of an AI bubble bursting.
Wow. 22%?
Yeah, because when you hear a story about a $500 million API bill, you have to look at the structural fallout. Like, is this a sign of robust, inevitable enterprise adoption? Or is it a sign of a complete lack of corporate governance?
Right, because nobody was at the wheel.
Exactly. If companies are deploying these massive recursive loops without understanding the variable cost structures, that 22% risk suddenly feels incredibly conservative to me.
Honestly, imagine going to sleep on a Friday and waking up to an AWS or Anthropic dashboard showing a GDP-level deficit.
I'd probably just throw my laptop in the ocean.
Right. But the wild thing is, it's not just massive enterprises blindly burning cash. It is happening at the individual user level, too.
Yeah, I was reading about this.
So Adio reported today that he resubscribed to the $100 tier just to try Claude's new 4.8 update.
The one with the new Ultra Code feature?
Yes, exactly, Ultra Code. So he tries it out, and he hit his session usage limits in a single prompt.
One prompt.
One single prompt. The weekly allowance was barely touched, but the session limit just hit 100% instantly.
And we really have to explain why that happens, because it's not just that the text generation is, like, slightly more expensive now.
Right, it's totally different architecture.
Exactly. It's because Ultra Code isn't a single query. When you pull the lever on a high-tier feature like that, you are essentially initiating a massive hidden parallel processing job.
It's doing so much work behind the scenes.
Yeah. The model is quietly spinning up hundreds of background instances. It's checking its own work, running internal simulations, and flooding the context window before it ever prints a single word back to you.
Which is crazy.
It is. These premium tiers are acting almost like slot machines for compute right now. You get this intense, incredibly powerful burst of intelligence, and then you are just entirely cut off. I mean, it is a completely unsustainable way to meter software.
It really is. And to put this in perspective, you know, using these multi-trillion parameter models for everyday tasks is starting to feel totally absurd.
Oh, for sure.
It's like using a commercial jet engine to dry your hair.
That is a great analogy.
Like, sure, it gets the job done instantly, but you are burning highly specialized, incredibly expensive aviation fuel for a task that requires a $12 hairdryer.
Right.
There is actually a viral post from ASICT's partner at Venture Twins making this exact point.
Oh, the meme.
Yes. They posted a meme of a man standing in a humidor, dramatically lighting a large cigar with this massive industrial blowtorch. And the caption was just, me using Claude Opus 4.8 to rename a file.
That is just the perfect visual, and it raises a massive question about market efficiency.
Right, so
Well, we are deploying the intellectual equivalent of a supercomputer to organize our desktop folders.
yeah, pretty much.
So when you combine that fundamental over-engineering with the insane token burn we just talked about, it paints a picture of a tech ecosystem that has access to unlimited cognitive power, but absolutely no idea how to allocate it efficiently.
And speaking of capital allocation, that massive compute burn is directly forcing the private markets to react.
Oh, big time.
Because if these models require this much cash just to run, venture capitalists have to overcapitalize startups just so they can pay their server bills.
Basically funding AWS and Anthropic by proxy.
Exactly. So at TechCrunch just reported on an insurtech startup called Corgi.
Okay.
They raised $106 million today at a $2.6 billion valuation.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, and here's where it gets really crazy. That $2.6 billion,
Yeah.
that is triple what they were worth 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
Yes. They closed a $160 million Series B at a $1.3 billion valuation less than a month ago.
Look, I have to pause you right there because we cannot celebrate this as a pure win.
You think it's too frothy?
Tripling a valuation in 21 days on, what, a $40 million annual recurring revenue?
Yeah.
That is not normal market behavior. It's markup madness.
It's definitely aggressive.
Aggressive. You are talking about a 65x revenue multiple being assigned practically overnight because momentum investors are just terrified of missing the boat. I mean, who is left holding the bag when the music stops?
I hear the skepticism. I do. But let me push back just a little bit here.
Go ahead.
They are building AI-native products specifically for cyber and liability risk.
All right.
So in a world where agents are accidentally spending $500 million like we just talked about, the insurance policies covering algorithmic mistakes are going to be the most valuable contracts on Earth.
Okay, I see where you're going.
Yeah, the premium is there because the risk is completely unprecedented.
Okay, that is a fair argument for why the product itself is valuable, absolutely. But financially, tripling the valuation in 3 weeks implies the fundamental business model grew by over $1 billion in 21 days.
Which, yeah, it probably didn't.
Right. That is purely driven by capital panic, not operational growth. If that polymarket bubble prediction comes true, these hyperinflated valuations are the exact ones that will crater first.
So if the economics are this stretched, I think we have to look under the hood at what people are actually paying for.
Let's do it.
Because the underlying models have taken a staggering leap. The catalyst for this usage spike we just discussed is that Alex Albert announcing Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.8.
The new beast.
Yeah, they've apparently fixed the nuances from 4.7, and I gotta say, the benchmark scores are terrifying.
Terrifying. Good or terrifying bad?
Good. Like, too good.
Yeah.
It now dominates in agentic coding with a 69.2% pass rate on SWE Bench Pro and computer use at 83.4%. And for anyone who doesn't spend all day reading AI white papers, SWE Bench Pro is basically the ultimate real-world software engineering test.
Right. It's not multiple choice.
No, it requires the model to autonomously download a GitHub repository, find a deeply buried bug, and write the fix entirely unassisted.
Which is an incredibly difficult benchmark to game.
Exactly.
But the detail that really caught my eye on the wire comes from at scaling AJO 1.
What did they point out?
They pointed out that we might literally have a GPT 5.2x high situation on our hands right now.
Okay, break that down for me.
Basically, Opus 4.8 on its low reasoning setting is matching Opus 4.6 on its high setting on humanity's last exam.
Wait, mechanically, how does a low reasoning setting match a high one from just a few months ago?
It all comes down to architectural efficiency.
But
the model doesn't need to, think or simulate as many pathways because its base level heuristic guesses are vastly more accurate now.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, the routing of information inside the neural net is so optimized that its gut instinct, so to speak, is as good as the previous model's deepest, most computationally expensive meditation.
That is wild.
It is. But I still have to ask, are these benchmarks actually translating to real-world utility? Or are we just building models that are exceptionally good at taking the specific tests we use to grade them?
Well, let me give you a tangible, real-world deployment that proves it's not just test-taking.
Okay, let's hear it.
So at Grigesenberg posted about using Claude Code's new dynamic workflows. That is the ultra code feature that burned all those tokens earlier.
Right, the $100 prompt.
Exactly. So think about the biggest, messiest code base you interact with at your job.
I'm picturing it.
Now imagine simply typing, create a workflow to migrate our entire database.
Just that.
Just that. Eisenberg says the system instantly spins up hundreds of parallel agents. And they don't just write code, they use adversarial checks.
What does that look like in practice?
Well, one agent writes the script, a second agent acts as a security auditor trying to break it, and a third agent acts as a compiler.
Oh.
Yeah, they argue with each other and iterate until they converge on a flawless solution. He says it completes what used to take a human engineering team 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, 3 months in a single week for about $500.
See, expanding the unit of work from just generating a single text file to orchestrating an entire code-based migration, that is a genuine paradigm shift.
It's massive.
The productivity gain for a solo builder is completely undeniable. But look at the societal ripple effect here.
The jobs, you mean?
Yes. If a single founder can spend $500 to unleash hundreds of parallel subagents that act like tireless adversarial senior engineers, what happens to the junior developer job market?
It just vanishes.
Right. The stepping stone roles that teach people how to become senior engineers are evaporating overnight.
And the timeline for adapting to this is shrinking so fast. Like Kim and Ismas revealed today that Anthropic is already rolling out Mythos-class models.
Project Glasswing.
Exactly, which is a full tier above Opus. We are accelerating so fast, we are just skipping rungs on the ladder entirely.
It's dizzying.
It is.
Okay.
But this brings us to the most disruptive piece of infrastructure on the wire today, and it connects the autonomous code directly to the macro economy.
This is the Replit thing, right?
Adamass announced that Replit is partnering with Visa to invent agentic payments.
Unbelievable.
Visa is actively helping build the infrastructure where AI agents can seamlessly, autonomously move money.
Okay, this is exactly where the guardrails we talked about earlier completely dissolve.
Completely.
We're moving from a read and write internet to an execute and spend internet. If agents are running dynamic workflows, auditing code bases, and now literally holding the purse strings, the infrastructure is moving way faster than the law.
Right. Because instead of a human typing in a credit card number, the AI is generating a cryptographically secure one-time token tied to a dynamic budget.
So no human in the loop at all?
None. If the agent decides it needs to buy more server space to finish a database migration, it can authorize that payment via an API handshake without a human ever seeing an approval screen.
Which is a regulatory nightmare.
You think so?
Absolutely. Under the Electronic Fund Transfer Act, there are massive consumer protections for unauthorized charges. But who is the consumer here?
That's a good question.
If an AI agent initiates a transaction, who is legally accountable for the chargeback? What happens when a rogue subagent decides to aggressively outbid competitors for cloud architecture and just drains a corporate bank account?
Just like the $500 million bug.
Exactly. Programmable value mixed with autonomous agents is going to break our current frameworks of corporate liability.
It fundamentally changes the definition of transaction. I mean, we are watching the automation of execution across the board.
Everywhere.
And it's not just code and commerce being eaten by this architecture. It is our media, our creative workflows, and increasingly our physical infrastructure.
The physical stuff is fascinating.
Let's start with the creative process first. Think about it. If AI can do all the execution, what is the actual value of a human being?
Honestly, it's a grim thought.
Let's look at the creative breakthroughs hitting the wire today. At Min Choi showed how Pika's new MCP Founder Kit skills work.
MCP, Model Context Protocol.
Yep, Model Context Protocol.
Right.
It basically allows Claude to reach out of its chat window, grab external tools, and browse live environments.
Okay, so what did they do with it?
Choi took a single App Store URL, dropped it into the prompt, and the AI autonomously pulled the UI flows, extracted the brand colors, and generated a polished 15-second video sizzle reel.
No way.
Yes, no storyboard, no editing software.
Just a link.
Just a link.
That is insane.
Meanwhile, at Google announced general availability of Nano Banana 2 and Pro, which handles multimodal 2K resolution image generation natively.
Right.
And 11 Labs just launched Dubbing V2. This is wildly different from the old text-to-speech tools.
How so?
Instead of reading a transcript and spitting out a robotic voice, it physically maps the acoustic waveform of the original audio.
So it captures the actual performance.
Exactly. It takes the breadth, the cadence, and the exact emotion of a creator like Mr. Beast screaming about a challenge, and transfers that acoustic blueprint perfectly into 90-plus languages.
Wow. It preserves the human entropy of the voice.
It really does.
But I have to ask you a very cynical question here.
Go for it.
If video editors, translators, and marketers can be entirely replaced by pasting a single URL into a prompt, what is actually valuable anymore?
That's the question, isn't it?
Like, if the execution of an idea is free and instantaneous, doesn't the market value of execution just drop to zero?
That is the defining existential question of this entire technological wave. And I think the answer was perfectly articulated today in a philosophical post from @Naval, which, by the way, was directly affirmed by Elon Musk.
Oh, what did Naval say?
He wrote, "There are 10x engineers because there are 10x thinkers." The point he is making is that true leverage happens pre-code. It happens through first principles reasoning, pattern recognition, and problem framing.
Because the AI still needs a prompt.
Exactly. AI needs a perfectly constrained sandbox to operate in. A human has to build the sandbox. Code, video editing, translation, these are just commodities now.
So it amplifies the thinker.
Yes. AI doesn't replace the thinker, it radically amplifies the gap between clear thinkers and everyone else.
You know, that framing makes perfect sense. Because if you have muddy, undefined thoughts, an autonomous agent is just going to give you muddy, chaotic execution at the speed of light.
Yep.
Which is exactly how you end up with a $500 million API bill.
Exactly.
But if you have crystal clear problem framing, AI gives you a 10x output. Problem selection is the new premium.
Exactly. The human premium is knowing what to build, not how to build it. And that brings us to the final, ultimate sandbox on our wire today, the physical world.
Right, because atoms still govern the bits.
That's exactly. While digital models eat software and creative media, physical deployment is the new battleground. So, OpenAI posted a video today called R&D Part 1, Here to Win.
I saw this, the racing one.
Yeah. They are partnering with Chip Ganassi Racing to use AI to optimize 7-second IndyCar pit stops.
Okay.
We were talking about real-time, millisecond data processing in one of the most extreme, chaotic, physical environments on Earth.
Okay, let me roll my eyes for just a second here.
You don't buy it.
I mean, an OpenAI branded race car doing 7-second pit stops is a brilliant marketing stunt, but does it actually improve their core product?
Well,
Or is this just a way to prove to investors that they can operate in the physical realm without actually deploying anything of broad societal use?
look, that's a fair critique. It is incredibly flashy.
It is.
But let me counter with a purely physical tech win that is fundamentally shifting a massive consumer market right now.
Okay, what do you have?
Sawyer reported that United Airlines will have Starlink installed on 80% of its entire fleet by the end of this year. And Southwest is adding it to over 300 planes by 2026.
See, now that is the real story.
Right.
Think about everything we have discussed today. Hundreds of parallel adversarial agents, real-time 2K video generation, instantaneous programmatic payments.
None of it works offline.
None of that works if you are sitting on a plane with a high latency connection.
Exactly.
Passengers are actively shifting their loyalty away from airlines using legacy Wi-Fi because they literally cannot do their jobs without low latency access to these agentic tools.
The infrastructure is everything.
It is. In a world of infinite digital AI agents controlling the physical infrastructure like a grid of low Earth orbit satellites providing internet in the sky is the ultimate monopoly. The digital world is limitless, which means the physical world's bottlenecks are where all the actual financial value will be captured.
It is the ultimate reality check. You can have the smartest AI in the world, but if the satellite link drops, it's just a blank screen. So as we look at this massive influx of capital, the 4.8 models, the autonomous agents spending money, and this collision with physical infrastructure, I want to ask you for a final specific prediction based on today's wire. What happens next?
My prediction is that within the next quarter, we are going to see the very first major lawsuit involving what I will call agentic liability.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we're going to see a corporation legally sue a vendor because an autonomous AI agent utilized Visa's new Replit integration to make a catastrophic, unauthorized purchase.
Wow.
A dynamic workflow is going to authorize a 7-figure server expansion without human oversight. The digital infrastructure is moving vastly faster than corporate compliance teams can keep up, and a massive financial error is just inevitable.
And then what?
When it happens, it is going to force federal regulators to finally step in and legally define who is responsible when a piece of software spends money on its own.
A completely new frontier of corporate law born out of a single prompt.
Yeah.
It is a lot to think about as you watch these models integrate deeper into your daily workflows. So, think about the boundaries you are setting on your own projects, keep a very close eye on your usage limits, and maybe think twice before handing an autonomous agent the keys to your credit card. Stay analytical, stay ahead. See you tomorrow on the Daily Vibecasting.